2022, the Super League season has just started, but let's not forget at the end of the year, the Rugby League World Cup, and I'm delighted to be joined by three England internationals here, Tom Halliwell, Jodie Cunningham and George Williams. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we doing?
All good, all good.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to get into your mindsets, because everyone has had a different day today, and I just want to talk through what that's looked like. So Tom, just give me the headlines of your day thus far.
So I knew we were coming here, so first thing, it's our pre-season, so we're in the gym at 6 o'clock this morning, got a session done, straight to work, finished work, and then got changed and then straight here. Straight on the M62 and down here.
Excellent. Jodie?
Yeah, I wish I'd have gone to the gym first thing, because I'm going to go to the gym after this, which
you're going to the gym after?
definitely not as good. But yeah, at work, so RFL offices, a lot of Zoom meetings, back-to-back calls, and then
Zoom's a thing now, isn't it? Yes. How many Zoom meetings are you doing?
A lot. I think today maybe 4 or 5 back-to-back, so yeah, quite a lot.
Great, and then gym afterwards?
And then it'll be gym after here, yeah.
George?
Mine's been a bit more chilled out than that.
I think I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I've had a day off today, so yeah, went for a brekkie, coffee, chilled on the couch and then came here, so mine's a little bit different to yours.
That's the life.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for, isn't it?
That is the life. So the World Cup, look, I think everyone's like hugely excited about it. I think it'd be lazy to just go, yeah, we're all excited about it. But let's not forget the cancellation of that World Cup last year. And George, for you, how was that? How did that make you feel? And how has it really affected your preparation to play for England?
Yeah, obviously, first of all, really disappointed. Everybody wants to represent the country, especially in the World Cup in England. It don't get much bigger, so as a player, that's what you look forward to at the start of the year. That's at the back end, and for it to get called off was obviously disappointing, but it just gives me more excitement that it's hopefully going ahead this year, and I've got to perform well to be in that squad, so that's obviously a massive goal of mine, and like I said before, every player wants to play for the country in a World Cup. So, did it help you getting settled again? Because obviously playing in the NRL and then coming back, has this extra year just given you that, just a little bit more time to get going? I think so. I felt a little bit under pressure with, obviously I didn't play for 6 or 8 weeks before I came back from Oz, and I was thinking about the World Cup. I need to get back fit and play to put myself in contention. So yeah, that was obviously lucky in that stage for me, but yeah, going forward now, I've got to play well to get in that team. I'm focused. Yeah,
and Jodie, you guys are in camp, is that right? The team's in camp at the minute, or you've had training?
We're in we don't necessarily do too many camps just because the girls working, so we're in like an England pre-season type thing. So pretty much every weekend we have England sessions, so long sessions in Leeds, which hard work, but they're brilliant as well. Like more time together as a squad, the better. So I actually think the delay will help the women. I think it'll give us an even better chance of being the best we can be, put in a good position to win that World Cup. So now I can see it as a positive. At the time I was...
And what do you mean by that? The extra time, what has it given you the opportunity to improve?
Well, I think the last 12 months is probably the most improvement I've seen in our squad in a long time, and I've been in the squad a while. Obviously I'm one of the older players. Just more from like a physical aspect in terms of like gym work, conditioning. The squad is looking so athletic. All the markers, we're regularly testing now. You can just see all the markers are going up, and I think our base level start for 22 is so much higher than it was in 21. So if we carry on that trajectory, more time together, just get to know each other as players, and people in different positions, how you like to play. Do you like an early ball? Do you like a late ball? Do you want it taken to the line? All those little things that when you work with a team week in, week out, you get to know that for the players around you. So hopefully it's those little things we'll get right this year as well.
Yeah, and Tom, look, speaking to you before we filmed this,
yeah,
I just couldn't believe your story about the delay in the World Cup and what that meant for you. So just give us that story.
So I plan to quit my job and just train full time, because I work in a school for working with SEN kids with ADHD and autism. So after as soon as the school year finished in July, I was like, right, I'm training full time for this World Cup.
So you handed your notice in?
Yeah, I handed the notice in, everything.
Right. How quickly did you try and get that back?
As soon as the announcement was made, I phoned straight to the boss. Just like, can I get my job back, please? And luckily she was like, yeah, it's fine. You can get back. So I'm quite grateful for that.
So the extra time then, what does that mean for the wheelchair team?
Obviously, throughout the last year, everything that we had were rushed. So all the time together were rushed because of all COVID, all the protocols and stuff like that. We didn't sort of make use of the time that we had together. So all the time that we had together, we're all rushed, like what stuff that were a priority, not what would look good in the bigger picture. Whereas now we've got more time, we're quite a young squad, so now we get time to experience being better people as well as better players as well. So I think we're just going to benefit from that and hopefully win the World Cup.
So first game in the World Cup is against Australia.
Yeah,
and
Australia.
That's down in London, isn't it?
Yeah, the Copper Box.
How exciting a start. It's a great start.
Yeah, unbelievable. Australia is obviously like the biggest country in rugby league really, and the biggest name. So if you get them first, beat them first, hopefully in the Copper Box, sold out Copper Box will be absolutely unbelievable for us.
So we're talking about Australia, one of the biggest names in rugby league. Now, Jodie, your first opponents are
Brazil.
Brazil, right?
Yes.
Forgive me, I know very little about Brazilian rugby league. So what do you know?
Probably about as much as you do. It's an unknown, and I think that's quite exciting, to be honest. From my perspective, obviously been part of the squad for a long time, the vast majority of my England caps are against France, just because that's the nation that we get the most opportunity to play. Obviously World Cups, we've had the chance to test ourselves against Australia, New Zealand, but now with the growth of the women's game, we're seeing so many new nations who are sort of putting their hand forward to be part of the World Cup. Brazil being one of them, so they are an unknown. We've never played them before, we've not really got any footage on them as such either. But I think I expect them to be pretty athletic, probably quite a lot of rugby union experience rather than necessarily rugby league. So yeah, it's a bit of an unknown, but quite an exciting nation as well, I think, to be part of the World Cup. It does spread things out a little bit, having a South American nation in. Yeah,
and the game's at Headingley. So do we know if Leeds has a big Brazilian contingent that's going to come down and support the Brazilians? Or are you hoping for a more England-based support?
I'm hoping the crowd's going to be on our side for that one. Yeah, fingers crossed. That's what.
Well, this could be a rally
hoping.
cry, couldn't it, for the Brazilian public of Leeds to come out and support the team?
Yeah, although not too many of them. We still want the crowd on our side. But yeah, I mean, as many fans there as possible is what we're hoping for. I think this is a great opportunity for the women's game to, especially that first one, that opening game. If we can pack out Headingley, show a big crowd and interest in the women's game, particularly internationally, I think it'll be great for the tournament going forward.
Yeah, I think we've lost a bit of that in rugby league where you don't know much about your opponents. Do you know, like, used to be where there was not a lot of video analysis. Now we all seem to know so much, so it's quite refreshing that somebody, you know, you don't know who you're playing against. It's like those junior days where you turn up and you're really not sure what you're going to face. But George, for you, I think you know exactly what you're coming up against in Samoa, in Newcastle, first game of the World Cup. That's big. It's a big start, that.
It's massive, and we all know how physical Samoa can be. The wingers are as big as the middles. We're in for a real test that day, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it again. And like I said, them games are so physical. You come out of them and you know you've been in a game. So there's a couple of lads in the Super League that'll be in that bunch, and yeah, it's a test. Like you said, we've got to get off to a good start though.
So obviously, you know, you played in the NRL and have got a lot of experience of this Samoan team. How much will you be able to help this England team prepare for that game? Yeah,
I might have been played against a couple of those boys, but like I touched on before, the video we do now is unbelievable. You know which hand they carry the ball in, what foot they step off, and what they eat for the breakfast. Basically, it's literally that good. We watch that much footage, so I'm sure the boys prepared themselves, and yeah, the video does the work. Yeah, I think this World Cup for me has had a different feel from the outset. Jodie, it feels bigger, better, more ambitious than anything rugby league's done for some time. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so. You can't question the ambition of the team. I mean, I worked for the World Cup for nearly 3 years, so that was a tough one as well, obviously being on the inside of when things weren't going too well and we weren't sure what was happening with the World Cup. That was really tough as a player. You know, the team were great with me and they gave me a lot of support around that because they knew for me it wasn't just work, it wasn't just a job, it was my passion, it was my life, it was everything that I was working for outside of work as well. But yeah, I think they've got a great team there. They've got a great leader in John Dutton. I think everything about what he's trying to do is making it bigger and better than it's been before. The inclusive aspect, obviously having all three, men's, women's and wheelchair, I think that is unique to, well, it's unique to this World Cup, but to rugby league is, I think, really setting the standard when it comes to international sport.
That's been a real point of difference, hasn't it? Because in the promotion for the World Cup, I don't think rugby was rarely mentioned. For me, it was all about, you know, that inclusivity and diversity. So for the wheelchair game to be part of this huge exposure event is incredible.
It's a dream for all us players, to be honest, because like we look up to the men's and women's game, and we watch every game. Well, I personally watch every game, so
every game.
Every game.
That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad.
Well, I grew up like a rugby league fan, so it's all I've ever known since I was born, pretty much. But yeah, it's an honour to be like even just be sat here with Jodie and George. It's like a dream for us players. Like some of the stuff we get, and we've got some players at Wigan. Like I've just signed for the Wigan wheelchair side, and a few players were speaking to them, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's like Zach Hardacre speaking to me. That's like John Bateman speaking to me," and they were just having a general conversation, like being a whole family. Like this is what I feel like this England group is. It's like a one big family and one big sort of unity, and hopefully win 3 World Cups at the end of it all.
Yeah, awesome. That's ambition. That's ambitious.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like that.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Get it done. Yeah, so George, you like going on the road, you know, this World Cup travels around a lot, doesn't it? You know, it's an important part of it for sure, isn't it? To get out and just get more interaction with different fans, right? Because we speak a lot to each other, you know, rugby league people, we all interact, but it needs to get out to more people.
100%, and I think that's how the game grows. I think obviously it's strong in the northwest, but we can venture out as much as we can down south and wherever it may be, and just get the game out there, because I think our product is good. People that watch it, they love it. It's just trying to get it out there and get it to a different audience. So
look, the equality and diversity, look, we've talked a little bit about that, but I'm interested to understand a bit more about this and just to tell a bit more of a picture. Where has the equality and diversity piece in rugby league got to now, and where was it? Do you know, Jodie, for you, you've been part of a transformation, haven't you, with the women's game? Yeah,
it's been really nice to see, and I think it's quite good really that we've still got some senior members of the squad, even sort of from a Women's Super League perspective, the sort of senior players who've seen where it was. These women and girls who've come into the game in the last couple of years, and that's all they've ever known, so you can't blame them, you only know what you know, and we've seen it where, you know, you're struggling to get 13 aside on a pitch on a weekend for some of our games, and you know, internationally we were paying to play for our country, and nobody even knew who any of the women's players were. The first time I played for England, I didn't know who any of the England players were, which, you know, it feels disrespectful really. You feel like they should be your idols, your role models, who you're looking up to and trying to sort of match yourself against. And I only got my role models in the England women's team once I was in it, you know, the senior players who sort of took me under the wing. But yeah, for us, in terms of numbers of people playing, you know, since 2017, I think there was something like 20, 30 girls teams, and now we're on over 100. We're up again by a ridiculous percentage on last year, and that's taking into account the fact that we lost a complete year with COVID as well. So for me, yeah, in terms of numbers of girls and women playing, it's massively grown, but what we get as players now, it's just another level. Obviously with it being an EPU, we're all one now, so we all get really similar levels of support, strength conditioning, that type of thing, which is massive for us, isn't it? It just allows us to be the best we can be, and we just appreciate all that support now more than ever, because we know how much that's going to make a difference when it comes to performing at the World Cup. Yeah. Jodie mentioned something interesting there, George, role models, and it's hard for maybe me and you to comprehend this concept because we've always had role models to look up to, haven't they? But how important were role models for you, you know, in terms of your development and getting into the game? Yeah, massively. Mine was, obviously I was a Wigan fan growing up, and obviously he's not English, but Trent Barrett was mine, and I absolutely adored him, and I watched everything that he did. I was on YouTube, and a 10-year-old kid on YouTube every night watching me hero. That's what it's all about, and that's what you want the kids. Hopefully they're doing that to me, and that's why I play. I want to. Trent Barrett might be doing it about not quite. But do you know, the younger generation, I want them looking up to me and other England players, and obviously the women, and also the wheelchair too. So there's a pathway for everybody now, which is good, and hopefully people can see that. Yeah, we take that for granted, I think, sometimes, that we had that path, and as Jodie puts so well, like that, seeing where you're going just allows you to be ambitious to get there. And Tom, you've certainly had ambition. You know, you've went through a horrendous injury when you were younger, and that sort of derailed you, but the wheelchair game, you found a home there. Yeah, I mean, the stories that all the athletes have is ridiculous. Like, some people have car accidents, motorbike accidents, some people in the army and stuff like that, and some of it's just a medical condition. So just to be a part of that group and just to understand everyone's story, it sort of motivates you to be better, and when you're on the field next to them, you want to work hard for the person next to you because you understand the stories that they've been through.
just in personal life, and that's just, it motivates me as a player and as a person as well, just knowing what they've been through.
Yeah, and you're able-bodied.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There's maybe a misconception out there that the wheelchair game is just for people who've lost limbs or who have a specific condition, but that's not the case. The two things really, how do you feel about that? For people maybe watching, that might be sort of confusing, there may be an assumption there.
Yeah, at first I was a bit sceptical, like, hold on, I can be running around here, what am I doing like in a chair with like people that can't run around? But as soon as you're in the chair, then you're level with everyone. It's a level playing field, so as soon as you're in the chair, then everyone's equal, and that's one thing that I love about it, that I could be anyone. I could have 1 leg, 2 legs, 0 legs, and stick me in a chair. I'm the same with anyone, and that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, it's competitive stuff.
Yeah, it's very competitive. Yeah.
You'd think the contact would go out of rugby league when you involve a metal chair, but it doesn't. What do you fancy it, George?
No, it looks rougher than the American. Honestly, it's mad. But yeah, I've watched it quite a few times, and it's really enjoyable. The skill level's really good too.
Yeah,
Score some really good tries.
Yeah, there's one doing the rounds, isn't there? I keep seeing it over and over again. It's sort of a chip over and chase, and then somebody dives out the chair to score. So I think people who don't know anything about rugby league will watch wheelchair rugby league and be really entertained, Jodie, won't they?
Absolutely. I took my grandma actually when I was watching
That's
you
a
guys
rock and roll
Leeds.
weekend, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I was watching. Well, I wanted to go and watch it. You were playing at Sheffield EIS, which is going to be one of the venues, isn't it, at the World Cup. So I was going to watch, and my grandma she's turned into a mad rugby league fan. When I first started playing, I remember saying, I don't really like this. I come for you, but I don't really like it. Yeah. And now she's a crazy fan. She'll regularly on like a Thursday, Friday night when the rugby's on telly, she'll be messaging me saying, oh, did you see Wigan tonight? Oh, did you see this? So I thought, oh, she might fancy coming and watching the wheelchair game. So I messaged, she's like, yeah, I'll come. And we went, and she constantly was like covering her eyes, going, this is worse than watching you. It's brutal. But it's so physical. There's none of that physical aspect that's lost the fact that they're in a wheelchair. And I did give it a go, and I was terrible. So
has Nana Cunningham got ambitions to play? Has she put a...
No, I've not got her in a Masters team yet, but she has now got a Saint shirt with she's got a Saint shirt with Grandma Cunningham on the back, and she absolutely loves it. She feels like a celebrity because she's got her own shirt. So,
well, it starts there, doesn't it? That's the next thing you're playing. That's how it happens. So England's selection, look, it's interesting going into a year, George, and you spoke about the acute pressure on like getting up to speed last year, but that's equally important this year for you. You know, somebody in your position, like eyes are on you all the time, aren't they? That scrutiny and pressure to perform is there all the time, right?
Yeah, 100%, and I put that on myself too. Yeah. I'm probably my biggest critic, so yeah, I'm always putting pressure on myself, but yeah, you're right. It starts me round one, I've got to start well, and there's so many good halfbacks in the country now. We've got a lot, like I say, a lot of pressure. There's only 2 spots, and there's probably 5, 6, maybe more that you can put in that group that could play, so yeah, it's good really. We've got competition for places. The squad's looking as strong as ever. So, yeah, I'm looking to cement it down, and I'm sure some of the blokes are too, but that's a challenge.
Yeah, what's a good start to the year look like for you? We're talking like, you know, over a 2-month period, you know, what would that look like for you?
I think just being consistent.
Yeah.
Just being consistent. Obviously, it starts, your team's got to be playing pretty well. We've had a good pre-season with Warrington, and I feel like I'm at home now. I've learnt the structures under Darryl and all that. So hopefully I can put my best foot forward, and like I said, being consistent every single week. Not one good game for 2 bad, or 3 good for 1 bad. Just being consistent, and hopefully the bigger picture will come. And
who's the bolters to make the squad? You know, there's young guys who probably wouldn't feature right now, but maybe in the mid part of the season could sneak into the squad.
Yeah, there's a couple. Aaron Newman, I think, is really talented. He's obviously had a little bit of a taste of it, but I think he's a really good player. He's really talented. And then we was talking off camera, Will Price. He looks like he's got all the talent in the world. He just looks natural when he runs, and yeah, he's playing full back at Huddersfield this year, so hopefully he'll go well. And it's nice to have them young kids coming through. Yeah, for sure. And Jodie, you're vastly experienced now, right? So you're a shoe-in.
That's another word for old, that, well, yeah, guys. It's fine. What that is.
Yeah, we know each other, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. You're a shoe-in for the squad. So his selection, you're even thinking about it? You're like the spokesperson for the game. You're undroppable.
Don't jinx that. Don't say that. No, I'm 100%, I'm not a shoe-in. I wouldn't say that at all. And I think it's only, you know, last season was a brilliant season for us at Saints. But my position was still all up in the air. Like, I came back from injury and we changed coach, so I was a full-back, like right through through the 27 up until the 2017 World Cup. I had my ACL up, and then we changed coaches, and I just remember as I was coming back, sort of like 8 months after getting back into playing, and he's like, "Do you think you're a full-back?" I was like,
it's one of them questions where he's telling you you're not a full-back.
I thought that I was, and he was like, "I'm not too sure," and I sort of played about with a few positions. So he was like, I think you're a half, so sort of playing in the halves, but it's not necessarily where I think I'm strongest. So yeah, I did a bit in the halves, bit of full-back, I did a bit at hooker, and then he was like, "No, I don't think you're a 13 as such," and I didn't necessarily think I was a 13, but I love 13. I think you have a lot of freedom to sort of do what you want to do. I'm not a prop 13, obviously, but I'm more of a ball-playing 13.
Just don't
take the first carry. Yeah, basically don't take the first carry. Just do it when there's a quick play of the ball. But yeah, last season obviously got some consistency of position, playing 13 for Saints, and then played out at England, did a decent job.
You enjoy that? You enjoy the little subtlety, like moving the ball around, don't you?
Yeah, I like just being able to step in and read. You guys as halfbacks have the hard job of constantly having to organise everybody else. And I like just being able to sort of slot in as I see something, rather than thinking, I need to tell them what I'm doing and do this and think about this and think about getting in for the kick, which I'm not a great kicker. Right. So having that responsibility wasn't brilliant either. But yeah, I found some consistency at 13, and the season went really well for us, so hoping to cement that spot. But there's loads of competition in the England squad, so none of us are shoo-ins really. Got some really talented young girls and lots of people fighting for that squad. It's going to be tough for any of the girls who don't sort of make it after the effort that everyone's put in.
So if you're not a shoo-in, who's coming for your spot?
Oh, there's lots coming for my spot.
If you can't name 2 or 3, I'm just calling you bluff.
No, there's definitely a lot.
Too humble.
I think it depends. No, Vicky Molyneux, I think at Wigan is a fantastic 13, probably a different 13 to me, and he's also a fantastic second rower. So I think we've got lots of versatile people in the squad where if you change one person, 2 or 3 people might change off the back of that. I'm a believer of getting the best 13 on the pitch no matter what position. Not every coach feels that way, but I think we've got a lot of flexibility in our squad of people who can play multiple positions. So it all depends. And Craig Richards, our head coach, he likes to keep us on our toes, and he constantly used to say to me, "You need to stop being obsessed with starting a game, because it depends who we're coming up against as to how I want my team to set up." And I was like, "You're never going to get that out of my head. I'm going to make your life a nightmare so that you have to pick me," because that's what you want. Nobody's there thinking I'm happy to be here. Everyone wants to get a shirt and perform for the country, don't they? And we've got a lot of girls fighting really hard. So.
Oh, nobody wants to be on the bench, do they? Do they?
I don't know.
Josh, I don't know. I've never been on the bench.
I've been on the bench. I've been on the bench, but I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
No, it's a team game. I obviously came off the bench as a young lad,
Yeah, and Tom, for you, look, for people who aren't familiar with the wheelchair game, just how many people are in the team, how many people are in the squad, and then who are the guys looking to get into that squad this year? Who might be names we've not heard of?
Yeah, so on a field at the same time, there's only 5 players allowed. 2 are able-bodied and 3 are disabled, and then on the bench you're allowed another 5 players, so 10 in a matchday squad, 5 playing, 5 on the bench, and then for the World Cup we've got a maximum of 12, and we've got a EPU squad of around 16 to 20, I think. So everyone's fighting for positions and everyone's fighting really hard to get into that squad, and it all comes down to playing good for the domestic side. So I've got to play good for Leeds before I get my position in that England squad.
But you're captain of the team?
Yeah. I'm currently captain of the team.
You're currently captain of the team. Currently. I like it. What's your leadership style like then? How do you like to lead?
On the field, I think it's easy because I'm pretty much an halfback, so I have control over everything pretty much, and I can just see things like that, and I'm like, right, move there, move here, move that, and I'm quite calm and quite composed. So I've got quite a cool head. So when people lose their head after conceding a try, I'll be like there to sort of calm them down and stuff. And then being a young lad as well, it's new. It's not really something that I've done before. So a group of blokes and females and everyone that are older than me for a start. So they've got people at 30 odd, 20 odd. I'm only 22 myself, so people at 29, 35, all different ages, and I have to sort of lead them on and off the field, and I found it difficult at first off the field because I'm like, these guys are older than me, and I'm telling them what to do. I was like, well, just didn't feel right. But now I've sort of got grips of it, and I've got a lot of help from all the EPU staff, and yeah, it's sort of helps me out, and I'd like to think I'm a decent captain now.
Yeah, and I'll let you know, Tom, what you're describing there happens in every team, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a point at which the younger guys start leading the way, isn't that right? Every side you're playing, there's a point where you've got to step over the top.
100%, and I found that hard, because I'm naturally quite quiet. Obviously in half-back, you've got to be vocal. When I first got into the team and I'm telling Jon Wilkin what to do, I was thinking, this isn't right. it's not right, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you've got to learn quick, otherwise you're at the team, you've got to do your job and you've got to tell them what to do. So that's a great quality. You're so young, and being able to speak to older people, it took me years to do, and I can do it now at 27, so 22,
yeah, it's amazing.
It's good.
It's really great. So playing for England it's a huge opportunity. I was lucky enough to do it badly on a few occasions, but it meant the world to me, and every time pulling on that shirt is just a huge opportunity, and you don't get many. So I'm interested to find out what your favourite moments, whether it's you wearing an England shirt or a team that you watched and inspired you. So starting with you, George, what's your big memory?
Yeah, mine's got to be my debut. Got to be. It's the pinnacle. And look, I was really fortunate. I was 20 years old when I played for England, and I'd have never thought that ever.
What was going through your head when the national anthem was playing?
I was quite emotional, you know. I don't know what it was, but something came over me. I was probably just proud. Obviously, it was at Leeds Sports Village. I remember seeing my family in the crowd, and that was my first real year at Wigan. And at the end of the year, I was playing for England. It was just a bit of a roller coaster, really. It was crazy. And
did you get a lot of confidence from that?
I did, yeah, massively. Steve McNamara picked me, and I'll have a soft spot for him, because obviously that's a massive thing for me and me and my family. So I can't go past it, and I scored too. So it's a day that'll always sit with me. And after the game, I gave my family a hug, and I didn't think I'd made it, but I just thought, wow, you appreciate what you've done here. And this is great, and not really heard of at 20 years old to play for your country. So I'll give myself a little pat on the back, and I smile now talking about it. So,
yeah, good. Yeah. These little things just give you a little push in momentum. Is there anything like that, Jodie, in your career? What's the special England moment for you?
For me, like personally, it was the opening game of the 2017 World Cup. So we faced Papua New Guinea, first time we played them. But I'd snapped my ACL that season, and like been told, that's it, you're done. And that was first time, so we were out in Australia the same time as you, so it was the first time it'd sort of been ran together. Yeah. Obviously in Australia, biggest thing there would have ever been at that point for the women, so I was distraught. Didn't end up having the operation and tried to rehab to get there, but never really believed I'd actually make it.
Were you fit? Were you fully fit at that time?
Well, strapped up, obviously I hadn't had the op, so I hadn't had the op, but yeah, my knee strapped up and felt it. Like, so the whole way through, I was, as much as I wanted to get picked and I wanted to be there, I also was really clear on, I don't want to be a passenger. Like, I'm only here if I'm going to contribute to England's success or however we do in the tournament. So yeah, managed to somehow like get myself fit enough to be picked and to go out there, and I played the full game against Papua New Guinea and didn't think about my knee once. I don't think I played any differently than I would have done without the injury. So that was a special one, because I remember walking off the pitch and all my family's in tears because they didn't think that would happen either for me. So personally, that was probably the most special moment, because I never thought I'd get it. It was sort of a bonus World Cup appearance. But game-wise, I think the best England women's game I've been part of was 2013 World Cup against New Zealand, and it was like try for try. And it was so close. And New Zealand were brilliant, but we matched them. And Amy Hardcastle, I think that's where she sort of made her international name for herself as well, scored a hat-trick against the Kiwis, which, you know, it's not easily done, that. But yeah, we just got beat, and even the Kiwis said we were amazing in that World Cup. They thought, you know, we were the toughest opposition. So to not make the final then off the back of that was really tough, but the game was amazing. That was the first real experience of international rugby league at its best for me.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in the injuries are tough, aren't they? They're such a tough part of the sport, and the mental side of getting over it sounds like that was just as much a relief as anything. Yeah,
it was. I think it's hard, isn't it? Like, you don't realise how tough an injury is to take till you get one. You can't empathise until you've been through it yourself, especially a long-term one. And yeah, I hadn't played a game at all from doing it to that World Cup. So I was 5 months, no game, just obviously training, contacting in sessions. So really, you don't know. You like to think it's going to hold up, but I didn't really know. And yeah, I got through it, but it was a tough time, not just for me, for my family. You know, they went through all the emotions with me. They were the ones who I was ringing when training wasn't going right or when rehab wasn't going right. So yeah, I think we rely on our families a lot when we're going through the ups and downs of sport. So yeah, for me, that was a good one for me, but for my family as well, I think that was a special moment for them.
Yeah, and Tom, yourself, such a young guy, so much experience already, which is crazy, a leader already, which is crazy. Like, what for you is the big standout moment of your England career?
Obviously the debut is always special, but I think going back to 2019, this is probably the first game we've played in about 18 months at this point, and we were going to France to play in France, who've never been beaten in France, and we went over there and we beat them on their home soil, and that still today sticks with me, and probably one of the most games where I've felt the best at the top level. Like that is the top level, like the best team in the world at the time, and to go against them, beat them over there, and feel like I can contribute and I can mix myself with the best. It just felt so comfortable, and everything I was doing, I just felt like it could come off. So it'd have to be that one.
And you'd be hopeful to create a better memory, won't you, this time round in the World Cup?
I just feel like the game's going in a momentous direction that we're better, we're miles better than that, and even in the games against France in November, like we know exactly what we've done wrong, and it's just little things that we need to pick up on, and I feel like if we do that, then I feel like we'll win. So
this is it, right? Crunch time. We're nearing the end. I'm not going to ask you if you think you can win the World Cup, because I just think what you're going to do is say yes, but we're not really going to know to what extent you believe. So I want you to put a percentage likelihood of you winning the World Cup.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it's brutal, but I just don't think yes or no is right. It's wrong in this situation. So we'll start with you, Tom. Percentage likelihood.
I want to say 100%. Me, I'm so confident in the backroom staff that we've got, the players that we've got, and the work we're doing off the field and on the field itself. I don't think anyone else is doing it. So
that's a high bar.
100%,
isn't it? 100%. Jodie Cunningham.
Why have you started
Jodie
that?
Cunningham.
Why have you done that to
Follow
me?
that.
Oh, you're asking for... It's so hard to judge, I think.
I don't know.
No, but it's hard in the women's game. You don't compete against the other side of the world enough to really know where you're at. You know where you're at from a World Cup, and then you have 4 years or 5 years in this case.
50-50 then?
Yeah, I'm going to go 50-50. This is the strongest squad in terms of all-round that I've ever been part of. When you're looking at skill-based, commitment, physical attributes, it's the strongest it's ever been, and we're going to be better in 9 months' time. So if we perform on our day, we can win that World Cup.
55-45, 55%.
Yeah. We'll go 55%, yeah.
Yeah, you just got to back yourself up a little bit. You know how important that 5%, a little bit more is.
55%, I like it. Yeah,
great.
Go with that.
Come on, George, give it to me. We've wanted England to be successful, you know, the men's team. For it feels like forever, doesn't it? You know, we wanted them to, you know, really go and win something. And it's a special opportunity, isn't it?
It is, and going off the 2017 World Cup, we were so close. We lost 6-0 to Australia.
Yeah.
I was on that tour, and I thought we was going to win it. The belief was there, everything was there. So my percentage, I'm going to go with 80%, just because it's a similar group. There's players that was in that group. They've had a little taste of it. Obviously, you've got to give the other teams a bit of respect. Obviously, Australia, New Zealand, Tonga now, they're really strong. But yeah, I'm going to go 80%. There's players in that group that I believe we can do it. I genuinely believe we can.
But not 100%.
But we've not done it, so it'd be new. So I'm going to be realistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still believe we're going to do it 100%. I can't go away from it. But trying to think, yeah.
Just making me look bad now.
No, sorry. But yeah, all three teams are going to be right up there, hopefully, and it'll be great.
Yeah, and I think everyone's looking forward to some big performances. And I don't think all teams winning it would define a successful World Cup. I think there's more of a legacy that will come after this World Cup that's important for the game. But I'd like to thank all three of you for your honest predictions. Jodie, not so confident.
No.
Don't say that. I'm confident.
55%
I'm absolutely confident in my team. But we've got to perform. And you know what? If you're 100% confident, are you going to slack off for the next 9 months? See, I'm giving myself that room
Conspiracy.
to improve.
There
Do you know
you
what I
go.
mean? Don't want to
Well
get
done.
complacent.
Stay humble. Yeah, I think that's it. Everybody, you know, we're all excited about the World Cup at the end of this year. It's finally here, and you get the glorious opportunity to watch some great athletes in all facets of the game produce some amazing performances at the end of the year.